Hello, today is May 1st, 2019. This is my wedding anniversary. I've been out with my wife, and maybe that's why I was the only trader on the planet who didn't realize there was an FOMC meeting today. Had I realized it, I would have said trading on these days tends to be whippy and hard for me to predict. So, what do we predict? We predicted a pattern with an early high and a late high that it tended to rally into the close. When it fails, it drops in a straight line. So that would be failure. We had a trader Vic 2B sell signal. I said I wasn't going to risk money on it because all it took to invalidate the signal was to trade over this price. So this is looking like a classic whipsaw where you get a signal, invalidate it, and then it does what the signal said was supposed to happen. We had this target. I thought it was an increased risk of failing because we gapped up and took out the old high. It's not a prediction it wouldn't print. I just wasn't predicting it would. Well, it did, and there was support under it, and that didn't hold. Tomorrow's pattern is the one with the early low. Doesn't mean you won't gap up first. During the day, the system said this drop was false, price would retrace, said the same thing about this rally, and correctly said this rally was false and prices would retrace. For a number of reasons, I'm not convinced the rally's over, which doesn't mean you won't go down first. For one, there's usually a three-leg whipsaw. After the Fed announcement, that's leg one, that's leg two. When this leg's over, typically you get leg three, which goes further away from this price than this leg did. So that's predicting higher prices. We also have a futures high, which was not seen in regular trading hours. Almost always it is at some time and usually the same day. Usually and always aren't the same thing. But both of those things are pointing to higher prices at some time. It's very negative when you gap up, hit a higher high, can't hold on to these highs at the close. It's even more negative when you can't hold on to the lows. It's particularly negative in this pattern. With this high over this one, almost always there's a closing high. The whole negativity goes away, but only by gapping up and taking out this high fast. Looks like the longest of long shots to me. Otherwise, we should see lower prices at some time tomorrow. That's not a prediction we close lower. We're close to these targets, and don't forget we have support under these targets. Support doesn't have to hold, but right under where we close, there is MEJT support. We also have a wall into the close and close enough to a Hobson close. The day's low for me tends to be panic selling by the amateurs. Even though futures are down as I'm recording it, very often the amateurs are greeted with a gap up when the market reopens tomorrow. So tomorrow's pattern is the one. Oh, one more thing. If we do get a substantial drop from here, there is a count which explains that this could be 1, 2, 3, 4, and wave 5 is 50% of 1 through 3. But again, we've had counts that worked all the way up. So tomorrow's pattern is the one with the early low, with a good chance of gapping up first, even though futures are down. Support at these levels. Support doesn't have to hold. Lower prices should print, unless we gap over this high. But I'm not predicting we close lower. And that I'm not predicting we close lower or higher, just that we should see lower prices at some time, even if we gap up and don't take this out. And that's today's call.